We're less than 3 hours tonight from a midnight deadline for the Justice Department to reply to a judge's questions about why the Jeffrey Epstein grand jury testimony should be released. This comes as two of his victims are condemning that request in new court filings tonight. Both victims are anonymous, but one of them is accusing the Justice Department of, quote, political warfare. The other says the DOJ and the FBI are, quote, protecting wealthy men. Neither is asking the judge to keep the transcripts under seal, but they're urging him to take precaution in concealing the identities of the victims. My sources tonight are CNN's Chief Legal Affairs correspondent Paula Reid, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree, and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Paula, what else are we hearing from these victims?
Kaitlan, I'm so glad you're taking the time to hear from these victims, because we don't want all the attention just to be on the perpetrators. And here they have a very clear message. They want more transparency, but they feel like the government has disrespected them. They make it clear they're not upset with the judge, but they are upset with the ones, quote, asking to release these transcripts, the Justice Department, of which victims are not privy to what is in those transcripts, but the government has concluded that there is nothing more to see on the files they hold, yet no one has seen them but them. And as victims go on to say the government is protecting third parties, wealthy men, by focusing on scrubbing their names off these files. They even call out President Trump specifically, saying that he's using agents to protect his identity and other high-profile individuals. Look, it's clear they don't trust the Trump Justice Department. One victim makes a note saying, clearly the Justice Department is more interested in talking to a convicted sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, than talking to victims. And, in the end, they just say, release it all. Do the appropriate redactions, but just release it and let us heal. And over the next 24 hours, we expect we will likely hear from more victims. They have until tomorrow to weigh in.
Okay, so if we're going to hear from more, and you're a judge, and you're listening to something like that, as compelling as that from these people, Tom, how much does this weigh on the judge, do you think?
I think it's going to have a very significant impact. Look, the judge right now is really representing the victims in some sense. To Paula's point, I mean, no one is really in the court. No lawyers are really in there advocating for the victims. They're speaking in their own voice. They're telling the judge the immense personal consequences if their names were to appear. They don't know what's in there. They don't know if all of a sudden tomorrow the newspapers are going to be filled with their name identifying themselves in just unbelievably horrific personal terms that they were a victim of Epstein. So this is their one chance to tell the judge, be very careful, be very thoughtful, be very cautious if you choose to allow these to be released, to make sure that you don't further injure us and cause further grievous injury to us, the victims.
So they're saying be careful, but we'll see ultimately what happens here. We'll see if the transcripts do get released. But Shay, let me ask you about something else that's coming out tonight, and Paula can tell us her reporting on this, which is the Attorney General is now ordering prosecutors to start a grand jury investigation into these accusations about members of the Obama administration, basically manufacturing intelligence on Russia's election interference, who Russia wanted to win the election. It's now this essentially investigation. Now, where does this go, do you think, and something that has been very well worn and investigated already?
Probably go the same route that John Durham's multi-year investigation went, which is nowhere. But they can certainly reopen what they want to reopen. They'll probably have to start with Durham's investigation. I know there's a little bit declassified new information there they can take a look at, but this is so well worn. I mean, I can't imagine that there's anything that can come with this, not to mention the statute of limitation problems.
But is it something, Paula, is it something that, we had James Clapper on the show the other week. He said he's lawyered up because he's worried about what this could mean for him personally. It's not clear they're going after him here, but we'll see. How do you view this from what you're hearing inside the DOJ?
With a lot of skepticism, and this story broke just minutes after we got these first letters from victims. It's unclear the statute of limitations, what would still be in the statute of limitations, how John Durham, of all people, would have missed this, how all of this ground that has been so well trotted would have omitted something of significance. This feels on its face like an effort to appease the boss, who's very upset about the handling of the Epstein matter and how that has caused this political firestorm. And it's very rare when the president can't change the conversation. This is another effort, but so far I haven't seen any there.
Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything that would really justify reopening this. You know, they said, well, we went found some documents in a bag, or there's some documents in the closet, so let's reopen it. And then Tulsi Gabbard made a referral and said that she thinks that Obama administration officials might have kind of shaded the intelligence a bit. Number one,
Trump accused him of treason.
Well, he did. And look, I guess number one, I don't see anything that suggests that there was criminal activity here. I mean, could there have been, you know, an egregious misjudgment? Possibly. Does that cross the line into criminality? I'm not sure. The statute of limitations, huge obstacle. I don't know how they get around that. But look, I think it's pretty clear that Trump wants to make sure that every so often we go back, we look at the origins of the Russia hoax, and maybe they'll find something.
Yeah, I think the real question is going to be whether anyone takes the fifth. I mean, that's the real interesting legal question to me. And I really think they should all take the fifth. Take the fifth.
Why?
Because there's always the danger, especially with this DOJ, that you could be caught in a perjury trap. Something that's supposedly inconsistent. Now you face new charges, 1001 misrepresentations. But if they just take the fifth, sure, tons of speculation. People say you must be guilty, you're taking the fifth. They're going to speculate that anyway. There's no amount of testimony you're going to give that's going to put an end to that. So just do the smart.
Spoken like a criminal defense lawyer.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Who wants to say a point? Shannon Wu, Tom Dupree, Paula Reid, great to have you all here.